Hello, folks. I'm Siva Gudipati, one of the solutions consultant here at TIBCO, and I'm very happy to meet with you today and go through a learn how to navigate in Spotfire session. I hope this will be very beneficial. I'm going to spend a few minutes going over a couple of slides. I want to set some vision here as I won't be able to go over entire Spotfire platform in today's session. So before we start with Spotfire session, a general disclaimer. So we can break down TIBCO Analytics platform into three pieces. This is a one-stop shop for smarter analytics. So we'll spend most of our time talking about two pieces. The first piece is Visual Analytics, as you can see. So this is going to be part of the platform which will help me build beautiful dashboards. I can look at historical data from a visual standpoint, using which I can have an interactive dashboard built. However, there are other pieces of platform available when you're ready to explore them. Now, using Spotfire, I can create simple dashboards and workflows to solve complex business problems. So in today's session, I'll show you how easy it is to build a beautiful dashboard for analysts or as a business user and get insights from it. The next piece is Advanced Analytics in Spotfire when you're ready to take the next step, where I can build advanced statistical models using our built-in statistical modeling technique. So for example, using forecasting as an analyst, I can predict trends based on historical information. So there is a built-in statistical data engine. We call it TER. TER stands for TIBCO Enterprise Runtime for R, which is a powerful data engine. It is baked right into the product, and it is licensed by TIBCO. So if you notice here on the screen, there are other data engines like SAS, MATLAB, which are compatible with Spotfire. The third piece is streaming analytics. So some of the predictive models that you put together, maybe you want to stream live using real-time data coming in, and you want to apply statistics to it. So you can automate actions and alerts based on certain rules here. So in order to achieve connected intelligence, TIBCO provides two important capabilities, right? The first one is being able to interconnect everything and everyone, where we can connect stuff and create smart apps. The second capability is augment intelligence, right? It is a way to understand and consume data to the ability to understand and act in real time with streaming analytics and power applications with visual analytics. So in short, connected intelligence is what actually makes digital smarter. Now, Spotfire has built-in collaboration tools, which will help you collaborate with your colleagues and share the insights. So besides collaboration, Spotfire also has built-in geoanalytics platform, which is one of the core differentiating factor. However, we won't spend a ton of time on it today. Although what I'll do is I'll show you how to build a map. So there is a fully loaded geoanalytics platform inside of Spotfire, which is pretty powerful. So if you bring all these three pieces together, we have it already called Analytics Nirvana. If you are interested in it, then we can certainly take a look at it and talk about the platform, right? So you got Spotfire, you got streaming analytics with predictive keys, you got a full package. It's all there and ready for use when you're ready. So as you have questions during the demo, you can submit them through chat or Q&A window. So we are in Spotfire environment now. So as I mentioned earlier, Spotfire is a powerful data discovery tool, which will help me build some really nice interactive dashboards. So these are some of the dashboards I built recently. But the real question I get asked is, how long did you spend on something like this? You are building something like this. Can real people do this? How can I create something like this with my own data set? the answer is it took few minutes to build this dashboard, and it is not hard at all to build something like this. All right, so let's get started. What I'll show you is, I'll show different examples in today's session. Right, the first example is using some sample sales data. Right, I'll show you how easy it is to build a dashboard in Spotfire and get insights from it. All right, so let me go ahead and fire up a different Spotfire instance. Right, so the first example is using some sample sales data. Right, it can come from anywhere. It could be coming from Oracle, SQL, or corporate sales data. So for some simplicity's sake, I'll go ahead and use a text file. Right, so during the demo, you will notice Spotfire environment is all drag and drop or point and click type of operations. Right, so the very first step is to go ahead and click on Open File and navigate to the folder. Right, so this is the guy that I want to import sales data wrangling.txt file. Right, so as soon as I go and make a selection of the text file, I see Spotfire import wizard. The cool thing about this is it gives preview of data that is being loaded into Spotfire. And if you notice, Spotfire is intelligent enough to understand different columns, right? So it recognizes different columns automatically with their data types. So these are all different data types. Right, for store ID, it is integer, and for customer name, it is set to string. You can pick and choose whatever you want from the list. I can as well go and include a very specific row or column like this, and it essentially gives preview of data that's being loaded into Spotfire. So I'll go ahead and click OK here. Takes a couple of seconds to load up the data. I'll see a recommendations engine. Now, the benefit of using a recommendations engine is even a business user, let's say a non-technical user, can build a visual analytics dashboard with few mouse clicks. Right, so this is all AI-driven, and it is one of the core differentiating factor. So based on the combinations that I select here, based on what I select to the left here in the data panel, Spotfire is going to go and generate. It's going to recommend different set of visualizations. Right, so what I'll do is, as an analyst, I want to go and select my brand year 1, year 2, followed by national brand year 1, year 2, and market segment from the list here. So based on my selection here, Spotfire generated these recommendations. So based on what I selected here to the left in the data panel, Spotfire recommended these visualizations. So I'm going to go ahead and add scatter plot to the dashboard. And I'll deselect these 3 columns like this, and I'll select lat long from the list. Right, so now I selected lat long. Spotfire is generating different visualizations. Now we generated a map chart, so I'll go ahead and add a map chart to the dashboard and close the recommendations engine. Now I can as well reorganize the page. Right, I can click on stacked icon like this, or maybe I can drag and drop like this, so that I can have scatter plot on the top and a map chart here at the bottom. Now, if I decide to make the markers on the map bigger, how would I do that is by doing a right click on size by, go all the way to properties, right, and using the slider control, slide marker size to the right so that we can go and increase the marker size like that and close it. So if I select a few markers in the scatter plot like that, specific regions get highlighted in the map. And based on what I select here at the bottom on the map, those specific markings get highlighted in the scatter plot. So that tells me that these 2 visualizations are interconnected, and they are highly interactive. Now, if you notice, right to the left, there is a data panel with different columns. So when I go and let's say click on one of the column like this, right, I can always filter out the data when I double click on the filter icon like this. Right. So if I want to assign different colors to different regions on this map, right, thereby I can apply different colors to different regions with the help of our built-in color coding technique. Now, Spotfire gives user the ability to do a drill down, and this is a perfect place to illustrate that. Right, so there is a great reason why I want to go ahead and do a drill down using this example here. So in this example here on the scatter plot, what I'm looking at is year-over-year product of the brand I am selling. If you notice, left-hand side of the graph is a place where the national category is losing, and right-hand side of the graph is a place where it is growing. My brand is losing in the left side of the graph. However, right-hand side of the graph is a place where my brand is losing even though national category is gaining. That's the place. This is the place that I'm interested in getting insights, right? So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mark the region like this. Right, so once I go and mark the region, now the next question that comes to my mind is, I wonder if there is something special about this group which will help me understand why I'm losing in this region. Well, hence, I need a details visualization. Right, so I'll do a right click here. This opens up a context menu. I'll go ahead and hit create details visualization. So these are all out of the box visualizations in Spotfire. I'll pick and choose bar chart like that. Right, so I'll go ahead and reorganize the page like this. And I'll drag and drop region from the data panel here onto x-axis on the bar chart like that. And I want to apply different colors to different regions. So let me drag and drop region onto color by region icon like that. So one of the observations I make in this bar chart is, there are two bars for Southeast region. There's one in red, there's one in yellow for Southeast region. Now, Spotfire has built-in data cleansing technique called data wrangling, which is AI-driven. So study shows 80% of time is spent on preparing and cleansing data. So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and group these two bars together. Right, so I'll make a selection of SC and Southeast like this, and I'll do a right click and hit group from marked categories. I'll go ahead and assign a name to it. I'll name this as SC. Right, I'll go ahead and click OK. Now once I click OK, if you notice there are 4 bars, and red bar, which is Southeast region, is overrepresented compared to other bars. The next question that comes to my mind is, I wonder if there is something specific with this bar, right? I wonder if there are specific types of customers in Southeast region that are predominantly what's going on here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop business type and drop it on x-axis like this. Right, so if I have to focus on one segment where I'm losing in the market, it is going to be tier 1 retail customers in Southeast region. Right, so I want to further investigate this situation here. So let me go and filter out business type. Right, so I want to filter out to tier 1 retail only. And I want to filter out to Southeast region. And I want to filter down to top 500 customers. Like this. So what I want to do next is find out exact details of all these customers here. So I'll go ahead and click on details on demand. All right, so this is the category. These are the list of customers which actually matched up with the criteria I mentioned here. So back to what I mentioned earlier, where study shows 80% of time is spent on data prep and data cleaning. So I want to talk about data wrangling, which is an inline technique in Spotfire. It is AI-driven. So for example, if you notice here at the bottom of the screen, in the details on demand, the header is set to customer name. Right now I want to change the header name from customer name to name. So how would I do that is go ahead and make a selection of customer name in the data panel, right? Expand the gear like this. So this opens up data wrangling, so I can go ahead and change the header name from customer name to name like that. And if you notice, it also gives the ability to change the data type here on the fly, right? So I'll go ahead and close this. So if you notice, I changed the header name from customer name to name. Right, so if you think about this on a high level, you can do data prep and cleaning within Spotfire. There is no need for you to go outside of Spotfire to do prep and clean. All right, so I would like to conclude here by stating that I've illustrated how to do a drill down in Spotfire easily using drag and drop and point and click type of operations and do ad hoc analytics. Now, the next topic that I'm going to cover is about theming. Right, how can I change themes in Spotfire, maybe apply custom themes, and how do I actually take control of all these themes? Using visual theme control in Spotfire, which is right here, I can change the background color, I can change look and feel of the titles. Right, so if I go ahead and select dark background by clicking on it, I'll go ahead and select the dark background so that background color changes. Right, if I decide to assign light background, we can choose light from the list so that I can go ahead and change it on the fly like that. Now, Spotfire gives the ability to add custom theme templates. Right, so I'll go ahead and click on visual theme and import theme from the file. I'm going to assign this guy marketingnyc.dxp. Right, I'm going to browse for marketingnyc.dxp and assign it. Once I do that, if you notice, titles and background color of all these titles change. Now, I can also edit this particular theme by clicking on visual control theme like this. You click on edit custom theme, right, navigate to details, right, and it gives you the ability to change the background color, right, you change the font and maybe change titles here in this user interface here. All right, so far in this example, I showed you how to apply custom themes and take control of it. Now, the next topic that I'm going to cover in today's session is using a different example. But I'll show you how to get some of the insights using store sales data. It helps me illustrate a few things. All right, so let me go ahead and close this. All right, I don't want to save it. And go ahead and import a different data file from the list, right? So by clicking on open file, right, you can choose store sales data, this Excel file. So I'll go ahead and click OK. So that's the Spotfire import wizard. I'm not going to use recommendations engine for now, so I'll go ahead and click close. I want to see the actual data that is imported into Spotfire. I want to see it in a table view, right? So I'll click on table view like this so that I can look at different orders with different parameters here. Now I'm going to go ahead and rename this page as orders and save it. So let's say for a moment, I want to look at this data in a time-based type of a way, right? I want to include time series. So how would I do that is I'll go ahead and create a new page, and I'm going to name this page as sales. I'll add a line chart to this. So on x-axis, there is order date, and on y-axis, sum of sales, right? Two different parameters. On x-axis, order date, and y-axis, sum of sales. Now I can also add one more parameter. So if I decide to add profit on y-axis, make sure you highlight profit and drag and drop on y-axis like this. Right, if you notice there are two variables on the same graph. So I got sales and I got profit here. Right, they are differentiated with different colors. Now I can assign scales for each of these measures, right? So if I go and do a right click on y-axis, it gives me the ability to do multiple scaling like that. And I want to add markers to these lines by doing a right click, go all the way to properties, and click on appearance and enable show markers. Right, show markers and close this. So if I want to change colors of profit and sales, right, I can change it. So for sum of sales, click on it. This opens up a color tray. You can assign a different color like that from the list. All right, so maybe at this time, right, I want to see more details of the data here. So how would I do that is by adding calculations to it, right? So first thing is I'll go ahead and click on table view, right, so that I get to see data in table format, right, which gives me details of the store sales. So if you inspect this data closely, there is profit, there is sales in it. So manager of a store is interested in seeing 20% profit in 2016, and they want to have a program which will actually bump up store sales numbers. Right, so my approach for that would be to add calculations to this particular data set. Right, so how would I do that is by clicking on insert and navigate all the way to calculated column. So this opens up a user interface where I can see available columns to the left, the properties in the middle of the screen. And Spotfire has powerful, built-in functions. These are all different functions which are built in. I can go ahead and use them. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and write an expression here. I'm going to say if year greater than 2015 or so, bump up the profit margin by 20%. And I'm going to name this column, the expression that I'm going to go ahead and enter, right? I'm going to name it as adjusted profit. Right, so I'll go ahead and click OK, and it gets added to the data panel here in the left. So I'm going to drop adjusted rate, and I'm going to add that to the table view like this. All right, so let me go ahead and close the table view. All right, so far in this example, I've covered how to do calculations in Spotfire and do multiple scaling in order to analyze sales data easily. Now, the next topic I want to introduce is advanced analytics, where you can do statistical modeling in Spotfire. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring a different example for that. So the first example that I'm going to talk about is forecasting. This is one of the advanced model which is available out of the box, where I can enable it by doing a right click. I do a right click. This opens up context menu. I'm going to pick and choose forecast like this. Right, so you see the trend. You see these dotted lines in red. So essentially, Spotfire generated a forecasting line based on historical information here. Right, I can go and click on all to values so that I can forecast the trend in the future. Right, so what we are looking at is some sales data which goes till end of 2014. Right, the algorithm here is Holt-Winters method. So forecasting is actually based on Holt-Winters method, which is a very robust method. Now, when I go and do a right click on forecasting model and click on properties and navigate all the way to lines and curves, I can go ahead and add confidence interval. right? If I want to assign a different color, I can go and assign like that from the list. And I can also change confidence interval by clicking on forecast, go and do edit, right? I can change the confidence level here within this user interface. So this is all built in within Spotfire, and there is no need of writing code. All right, so one more example, which is out of the box, is clustering. Now, in this example, I'm looking at stores that are spread around France, and all these stores sell different types of products. So if I go ahead and select a line here, right? So when I hover over this specific line and I select it, it gives you category of the products they sell and that specific region of the map. Right, so based on my selection here, that specific region gets highlighted in the map. So I would like to answer business questions like, are these stores clustered in a way where I can treat them differently? Right, how can we actually supply goods to all these stores differently? And where are these stores geographically located? For me to answer these business questions, I'm going to use simple out-of-the-box clustering technique. Right, so I'll go ahead and click on this chart. I'll do a right click. I'll pick and choose K-means clustering. Right, I'm going to name this as clusters. And I'm telling Spotfire instead of 9 clusters, let me go ahead and generate only 4 clusters. Right, so I'll go ahead and click OK. So this will actually break down categories into 4 different groups. Right, so Spotfire performs analysis and it actually clustered data here. I can go ahead and do a color by clicking on legend, do a color by, pick and choose clusters from the list so that I can assign different colors for different categories of products here. Now, one thing I want to mention before I wrap up this call is going to Spotfire community and taking advantage of it. So Spotfire community is a place where we get answers to most of the questions, right? So when you actually sign up for the trial and maybe you want to explore the product, you can search for answers or download code samples here. So it is a place which will help you learn Spotfire and come up to speed with it. Right, so when I started 4 years ago, I used to come here, post questions, and get help, from community answers. Right, so if I go ahead and click on one of the question here, right, you will notice there are about 31 answers to this specific topic, and our Spotfire community forum is reviewed by experienced customer success engineers and technical support engineers. All right, so let's see. If you have any questions related to Spotfire, right, please use our Q&A or chat window, and you can submit questions here. So I see a question on the chat. Question is, when was recommendations engine introduced in Spotfire? So that's a good question. So in higher versions of Spotfire, let's say 7.6 and higher, we introduced recommendations engine, right, which is AI-driven. So based on the combinations of columns that you select, Spotfire recommends different visualizations, which will actually help you, get started. You can build dashboard easily. So I believe there's one more question on the chat. The question is, can we add specific values using data wrangling? Yes, the answer is yes. Data wrangling, as I mentioned, is an inline technique which is AI-driven. Right, you can certainly go and add different values. You can update cells on the fly within Spotfire. Any other questions? All right, I guess that's it for now. So I hope this overview of Spotfire has been useful. Please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions and you want to explore Spotfire. I thank you for joining us today, and have a good day. Thank you.